This short little video and interaction, I think, is very indicative of leftist liberal ideology and their, quote, tolerance.
No need for that. We're on the same side, bro. No, we're not. Yes, we are.
We're on the same side.
Oh, bro.
Yeah, bro. Bro. Oh, no. Bro. As people are saying, what in the world is happening to Europe? And is it coming here to America? As there has been a lot of focus on places like Dearborn, Michigan, and in Europe, where Christmas festivals are looking a tad bit different, to say the least. As some people argue, we are seeing the Islamification of the Western world, a modern crusades, as a lot of people have some very interesting things to say about this. We'll get into some of those clips, some of the conversations happening right now, as Alex Jones and Laura Loomer are warning about new alleged Muslim plots against the West, while Candace Owens is saying that's a perfect opportunity for this one country in the Middle East to pull off you know what. And that conversation definitely is fascinating, especially with what just happened with the National Guard and what happened with an Afghan TikToker here in America that was planning to go after and take out his vengeance on America. Why is this happening? Well, there's a lot of things happening behind the scenes, a lot of very important conversations, specifically when it comes to some of the Biden policies. And a lot of people have some very strong feelings and emotions about all of this, including, of course, Alex Jones, which we're going to be playing some of his clips in reaction to what is kind of descending and happening here in the Western world. If you appreciate these type of conversations, subscribe, click the notification button, as of course I like to have more of a nuanced take on these issues. It's not really as black and white as a lot of people see it, but I think there's a healthy conversation that might be a little bit too spicy that does deserve to happen, that's going to happen here in this particular video. Now, a lot of people online are sharing this video saying, Merry Christmas, Brussels! As Rebecca Mistringen says, I must admit, this Christmas tradition is new to me. Watch out, America. This will be your future if you don't ban the Muslim Brotherhood. Seems a little different than the jolly holiday spirit, as this man is also going viral in Dearborn, Michigan, interviewed by Nick Shirley, highlighting his concerns about what is an ever so growing Muslim migrant population that has been growing tremendously in Michigan.
Hey man, listen, these people hate our country. They hate everything we stand for. We have to oppose them everywhere they go.
Now, I'm automatically like, these people, you got to be careful, because a lot of people take it too far, and they're like, it's all the Jays, it's all of them. I know some fat, stupid, lazy Jewish people that are my friends, and I'm like, I don't think they're plotting and running things. You know, they can barely get off their couch. You know, but there is, and this is where the nuanced conversation deserves to take place. There are people that are literally being imported from the third world, or have walked in, or have been invited by different types of democratic liberal sanctuary cities, and they do come to America and they live off of the welfare, and then they scream death to America. It's like, can you not? Like, you would think the country that takes you in, takes care of you, literally takes our resources away to finance and fund your lifestyle. Some of these people have multiple wives and multiple kids, and we're subsidizing it, and then people are left with the question of, what are we left with? Peace barricades, like we do in Europe. Now, it's not all of them, and there are really honest, earnest, good people out there that do want to make a difference. But be careful when you speak in generalizations. But there's reasons why there are rules to some type of stereotypes, and we'll get into that in a little bit.
All right, black or white, if you're a Christian in this country, these people hate your way of life. They oppose your existence. We can no longer allow this. They come over here with their Ford Fusions. Go back to your country, all right?
Go back to Somalia.
Bye-bye.
Go back.
You think any of this is fear-mongering from the right?
No, it's necessary. You know, it's not fear-mongering. We need to do this because we're looking what's happening across the pond in Europe, in Berlin, and France, all over, and London. Do we want to be like that? No. And black people, guess what?
And listen, a lot of people are looking at the demographics. They're looking at the white population that's being told by the media, having children is selfish. You shouldn't have children. We have to save the environment, so you shouldn't have children. Next to advertisement saying, come on in, guys. We'll have a sanctuary city here. And those people that are being subsidized by, essentially, let's just be real with ourselves, predominantly a white working class, are living off of the taxpayer dole and having as many children as they can. And when we look at the demographics and population changes and shifts, and it does highlight how some people would say this is kind of like a long-term kind of strategic plan, but it does highlight a decline of the Old West and this new multicultural, diverse West, which the left loves and cheerleads, even though they're some of the biggest victims of a lot of the crimes and a lot of the kind of practices by some of these cultures and people. They're the biggest cheerleaders and promoter of it.
This country that you live in, you benefit from it. You should stand with your Christian brothers. Stand with our white brothers and sisters. This is our country that we've built together.
Now, let's get into this type of, threat analysis here. We got Laura Loomer, Candace Owens going at it. We got what happened in D.C. We got what happened with this guy in Texas. We'll get into all that and a lot more, especially with what Alex has to say, which I find very interesting. Before we do, just really quickly, check out wearechange.shop, one of the best shops on the internet. One of the products that I have is something that a lot of people are deficient in. Vast majority of people are deficient in magnesium. Magnesium glycinate is legit. It is real. It is awesome, as there are now new studies talking about how magnesium could shrink plaque in your arteries. I have it here on my desk. Magnesium glycinate. The bottle's open. Why? I take it. I take it every time with my last meal of the day here. And we have 400 milligrams of magnesium glycinate that I have been really enjoying. I've been increasing my sleep score. My sleep score yesterday was 98. Before that, 97. Today, look at that. Look at that. It's a flex right here. It's upside down. 94. Look at that. Why? Magnesium glycinate. It's one of the reasons. As some studies are showing that it actually lowers plaque thickness, it improves blood insulin sugar levels, drops inflammation, lowers cholesterol, improves antioxidant capacity. Also, a lot of people who have very low vitamin D and they start supplementing, and they're like, I still have very low vitamin D levels, which are the key kind of essence and the main kind of hormone of life. Right? Look at a lot of people who deal with very severe sicknesses and illnesses, very low vitamin D level. Lots of modern medications deplete your vitamin D levels. So a lot of people are like, oh, supplement. We have vitamin D with K2, which you need, and also available. That's in our ultimate Sun Force bundle right here. And we can't put the pills together because vitamin D you take in the morning with your food, and the magnesium glycinate. Some people say take it 2 hours before you sleep on an empty stomach. I don't like that. I like to personally take it with the last meal of my day, and then trying to have a big as window as I can before going to sleep and eating, right? I try to expand that window as much as I can here so my body could fully digest, so it's not digesting while I'm sleeping, so it doesn't disrupt my sleep. And so far I've been studying sleep, and as you see by the sleep score, I'm kicking some major buttocks here, all right? 94, look at that. I want the same for you. Sleep is so important for life. Being able to have lifestyle changes and then help with supplementation has helped me out tremendously. I believe it could help you, and that's why I check out wearechange.shop and support ourselves and support you at the same time. Now, there are right-wing commentators warning major attack. It's going to be by Muslims. Candace is like, yeah, there's going to be something second week of December, but a lot of people are saying it might be a false flag type of operation. Now, we just saw a very horrible attack on 2 National Guardsmen in Washington, D.C., as the suspect was a part of CIA special forces in Afghanistan. Then he was sent over to the United States, first by the Biden and then approved by the Trump administration. And then he went pretty haywire. As now there's another Afghan in Texas on TikTok saying that he is building a major device that was going to hurt and go after American soldiers. And this is not a nice situation, as Alex Jones responded to this by saying, this, my friends, is mainstream Islam. Exclusive video of Afghan national Mohammed Dawood al-Kawaza planning to take American lives with an explosive in Texas. As people were cheering him on, people were supporting him. Dallas and Fort Worth were the targets. There's allegedly some other major plans that are the targets here. But this guy, clearly very low IQ, and this matters. I'll tell you why in a little bit. As of course, he literally bragged. He's like, I will do that on TikTok. He's like, he literally just like broadcasted his whole plan. And obviously he was able to be stopped because people reported this, even though we have a whole NSA national database that tracks, trace, and database everything. But obviously people saw this and reported it and were able to apprehend this person. We will see what happens. If there's a liberal judge and prosecutor, we'll slap on the wrist, come back out. As Trump also officially declared that the Muslim Brotherhood is a foreign terrorist organization. So people are saying that this is a step in realization at the kind of major threats facing America. Now, why do people hate America? The point's complicated. We'll get into that in just a little bit here. But at CNN, we had a rare moment of truth being told here. As you know, the Middle East has a lot of different ethnicities, a lot of different tribal affiliations. But under the Biden administration, we dropped a lot of vetting standards, and literally we're saying, yeah, let's get them all on a plane. Thousands of people on a plane. Let's visa free. Come on in, guys. Under the failed kind of leaving of Afghanistan that essentially armed the Taliban to the teeth with American taxpayer dollars.
That's through the same process. But here's the thing. A U.S. commanding general recommended me. I had 45 letters of recommendation. I went through a clearance process, even though everybody knew me, but I had to wait 3 years to get my visa.
Yeah.
While we have an open border, we have guys like them, put them on a plane, bring them to the U.S. What do you expect? This has to be, and it has been always a bipartisan problem. It's not a Democratic problem, Republican problem. Look, Bush started the war. President Obama, he surged it. President Trump made a deal with the Taliban. President Biden, he just exited in a most shameful, chaotic,
shameful, chaotic, insane way, right? That leads to a big problem now, as a lot of these people are not the best of people. We find out. It's like, oh yeah, this guy was CIA Special Forces. He went crazy and berserk and took the lives of 2 National Guardsmen. It's like, well, hopefully they survive, but not looking good there. As Laura Loomer says, a reckoning is coming. People have called me crazy for years, as she's saying that we are witnessing an Islamic takeover coming to the West here. As, of course, this was the scene of the opening night of the Christmas market in Brussels, where people were waving Palestinian flags. Now, why does Palestine matter here? Because the United States overwhelmingly is financing, aiding, and abetting, and putting their stamp of approval on what the Israelis are doing to the Palestinians. Now, I don't care what side of the conflict you are on. Pretty clear, especially when it comes to the starvation, especially when it comes to some of the practices, that there's a little bit of a PR problem. and moral problem when it comes to what's happening with the Palestinians, which is the kind of rallying call of a lot of the people on the left and a lot of, devout Muslims that are saying this is what the West is financing, paying for, aiding and abetting. And personally, this is why I have been a huge advocate of saying it's not our problem, let's stay out of it. Why? Because we're inviting problems. Not just by doing that, but also bombing the crap out of Afghanistan, bombing the crap out of Syria, out of Libya, out of Iraq. For what? Why were we doing all this? Oh, yeah, probably for that benefit of that one particular country, because otherwise a lot of this just absolutely makes no sense at all. As, of course, this is the kind of beehive that we're shaking up and then saying, yeah, we're going to pay to blow you up, and then we're going to pay to build you back up. And then come on in, guys. We have a refugee crisis. Oh, no. Come on in. And then we saw what happened, especially after the fall of Libya, which was tragic. The fall of Iraq, tragic. The fall of Afghanistan, tragic. And of course, a lot of the European countries run by NGO and a lot of these sinister groups and organizations said, come on in, guys. You're welcome. Come on into the West. And now we're dealing with a significant population change that is going to have cultural significant differences and are a direct clash with the woke liberal crowd that is literally financing, cheering for it, and saying more, more, more. And it's like, you know, everything that you think of how horrible the right-wingers are, especially when it comes to their religious beliefs, there's the other side of the coin here, especially with some, not all, but some Islamists that do believe in very serious versions of the Quran that have serious clashes and implications with Western civilization, especially when it comes to women's rights. But a lot of them don't really see that. Now, I disagree with Laura Loomer going after Alex Jones and saying, you're Buddy Tucker. Is the problem. And I'm like, stop trying to, let's just stop trying to shame and attack each other and say, you better disavow him. You better disavow this person. As Alex now has definitely been more aware of this problem and has been starting to speak out against it. This is his latest broadcast that I think is interesting.
Of the exhibits that I've given them the last 2 weeks on Islam as I've been preparing to do this broadcast, over 400 clips. Hundreds of clips of top imams saying they will enslave us all and kill everyone that doesn't convert to Islam, and reading from the Quran that that's their orders, that's their battle plan. That's how Muhammad did it. Hundreds of clips of them burning down thousands of churches per year in Europe alone, attacking Catholic bookstores, shooting up rock band concerts, stabbing babies.
Yeah, actual things that really happened. There was a major incident in France inside of a theater with like horror level type of depraved evil behavior that the French authorities hid from the general public. The witnesses came out and spoke out about the vile evil horrors. Now again, not everyone, but there does deserve to be a nuanced conversation, especially when it comes to IQ, right? Low IQ, less access to women, more likely to be radicalized. Now, you add that to the fact of failed Western policies that destroy their countries, and then we pay to rebuild them, and then we tell them to come on into the to the Western world. It's almost as if it's like a deliberate plan to sow chaos and division. As I think there should be almost everything done to avoid this kind of 3.0 crusade. Personally, right? The way you stop that, in my opinion, one, you stop with these horrible failed policies in the Middle East. You just don't involve yourself. Let the Middle East figure itself out. Not our problem, not our issue. This is America. We care about America. Number one. Two, have an actual real conversation like Mike Cernovich is willing to have that a lot of people are afraid to have because they're worried about offending people. And again, not everyone, but there is a rule here that does deserve to be talked about here. As of course, Cernovich says, it's not Islam, it's IQ. Some people are saying, no, it is Islam. And we'll tell you why in a little bit. He says, smart Muslim doctors are no menace to the West. It's the inbreeding and 85 IQ. Even if they shared your religion, you wouldn't want to live in that neighborhood. But the Overton window isn't there yet. And I agree. People are like, oh, how dare you say this? Well, it's the truth. Now, people are saying, well, arguably it is Islam, because one reason why that IQ is so low is because there's a lot of cousin marriages in the Middle East. Now, this is what Gavin McInnes said on the Joe Rogan podcast. That podcast deleted from Joe Rogan's Spotify and hasn't been uploaded for some strange reason, even though Joe Rogan said they're all going to be uploaded. They're not. And there are some disgusting, horrible behaviors by some of these people and some of the ethnic minorities that does deserve to be called out. Cernovich says chicken and egg problem. Is it Islam that leads to this, or the low IQ that leads to radical forms of Islam? Now, again, when it comes to inbreeding, there is a big correlation here paired with the average IQs here. As We have a post here by Michael Rotterdam saying the data was so bad the room went silent. There was a debate between a Christian and a Muslim. But first cousin marriages rates in Muslim majority countries are big. And a lot of people correlate that with the drop of IQ, as there is learning difficulties and disabilities. Pakistan, 65% cousin marriages, IQ 81. Saudi Arabia, 58%, IQ 76. UAE, 44. And look, all these IQs. Mauritania, IQ 60, 43%. Morocco, 26%, IQ 67. And the list goes on and on and on. Qatar, Yemen, Oman, Jordan, Egypt, Algeria, you name it. And this was the kind of portion of the debate that really took place here. So are there things to worry about? Yeah. Can we have a real legitimate conversation about it? I hope so, because that's the only way to really get out of it without people hopefully being triggered. And we are in I think, a very vulnerable situation. Our foreign policy doesn't really spur good favor, especially within the last few years, starting with Bush. The bombing of Iran, the U.S. full support of what's going on in Palestine, also not good. I think that needs to be addressed, and we're able to kind of address the refugee immigration issue. Our borders were left wide open. Pam Bondi's talking about we're going to get these guys, as there's a lot of disarray and a lot of lack of trust between the DOJ and the FBI, as some people are saying that there's a lot of chaos within federal police departments and leadership. What do you think is really going on here? Let me know down in the comments section below. Thank you so much for watching this on our backup channel. Subscribe. And make sure, check out wearechange.shop. Get some magnesium in your life and increase and improve your overall personal happiness and well-being. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys going to wearechange.shop and supporting us. And this is why I love you guys. Stay tuned for more. All here exclusively here on youtube.com/weare.